It is one of the most widely repeated trivia facts in history. Albert Einstein, the ultimate symbol of human intelligence, spent his childhood failing math. You can see why the story survives. It acts as a cultural coping mechanism for any parent staring down a struggling student's report card. The contrast makes a great story. The man whose equations describe the curvature of space and time allegedly couldn't pass a middle school algebra quiz. But the record is entirely unambiguous. Einstein was a mathematical prodigy from a very young age. So if he was acing calculus as a teenager, how did an entire planet end up believing the exact opposite? The answer traces back to a very specific, literal mistranslation. Growing up in Germany, Einstein attended the Leupold Gymnasium in Munich. His math scores were predictably excellent, but he routinely neglected his humanities and literature assignments. He also intensely disliked his formal music classes. His childhood academic friction was limited to the arts and humanities. However, the legend does have a tiny grain of historical truth. When he was 16, Einstein actually did fail a major test. He was attempting to enroll a year early into a highly competitive engineering university, the Zurich Polytechnic. He performed brilliantly on the physics and mathematics sections. What kept him out of the university was his poor performance on the French language portion of the entrance exam. Because of that language deficit, he spent the next year catching up in a different school system entirely, moving across the border to Switzerland. This geographic shift is where the historical record gets messy. Einstein enrolled at the Cantonal School of Aarau to finish his secondary education. His transcript shows a 3 in French and 6s in algebra and physics. In the German system, 1 was the highest mark. But the Swiss system was inverted. 6 was perfect. Through a German lens, those perfect 6s looked like terrible marks. Fast forward a few decades. Einstein is now a globally famous Nobel Prize-winning scientist. American journalists, who were accustomed to a straightforward A through F letter system, began digging into his childhood, searching for relatable human interest stories. They found those numerical grades, misunderstood the Swiss scale, and published the error. In 1935, the wildly popular American magazine Ripley's Believe It or Not printed the claim that the great Einstein had failed high school math. A simple misunderstanding of foreign grading rubrics, combined with the press's hunger for a good story, rewrote the history of the world's most famous physicist. By this time, Einstein was living in the United States, working as a professor at Princeton University.
He publicly laughed off the Ripley's article, explicitly pointing out to reporters that he had mastered complex differential calculus before his 15th birthday. But his corrections didn't gain much traction. The public actively wanted the myth to be true because it humanized an otherwise untouchable intellect. The survival of this rumor is a perfect example of context collapse. What happens when raw data gets stripped of its local meaning and broadcast to an audience that doesn't know how to read it? To be perfectly clear, Einstein passed his math exams with flying colors. The only real failure here was one of 1930s journalistic fact-checking. We don't need to lean on a 90-year-old clerical error to feel better about our report cards. The true story offers its own comfort. Even unparalleled geniuses have their weak spots, like French.